The National Security Agency has reportedly installed software in computers around the world that lets the United States government monitor those machines even if the computers are not connected to the internet. They can get to you whether you're online or not. That's according to the reporting of the New York Times, citing NSA documents, computer experts, and U.S. officials.
Yes, indeed. We learned Big Brother is watching. This fact went largely and happily ignored until Edward Snowden dragged the NSA secret surveillance program into the light. Joining me now on Midpoint, someone else whose job is to actually drag stories into the light. Political reporter for the Daily Caller, Patrick Howley, joins us. Good afternoon, Patrick.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Great shot of Washington, D.C. behind you. Talk a little bit about Edward Snowden. Quite a lot of fallout from the documents he leaked and from the debate about what to do about him. The NSA was caught spying on American and world leaders. Did these leaks fatally damage the NSA and national security? Or what do you think? Is Snowden a hero for exposing the NSA's program?
Well, I think the NSA's reputation certainly took a major hit, and it's going to be very hard for that agency to, earn the public confidence again, since they're primarily known for this now. My view on this has always been that we need to fight terrorism. Terrorism is a real threat around the world, and so, in terms of the extrajudicial things that the Bush administration put in place, Guantanamo Bay being among them, I tend to take the view that some things needed to be put in place. The fact that this was secret for so long and was being used by the Obama administration as well without anyone knowing, I think set a very dangerous precedent. So when Edward Snowden leaked these things, I was happy that the information came out as a journalist, and this really cuts across party lines, and Republicans and Democrats alike sort of didn't really know what to make of it. But, my view as a journalist is that information needs to come out. Edward Snowden has since revealed himself to be, I think, somebody who is in bed with the Russian regime, certainly going on and participating in propaganda films with Vladimir Putin. So I think that certainly he is somebody who is a character that doesn't exactly have a sterling reputation. That said, I think as much information about the government needs to come out as possible. Okay. So I look at it sort of not in black and white, but in gray terms.
Sure. Interesting perspective. Now, back here at home, President Obama said he's going to use the pen to advance his agenda on issues such as immigration and climate change. Some critics said he's already done that and exceeded his constitutional authority. What do you think?
Well, certainly the immigration executive order was one of the boldest executive orders that we've seen from a president in modern times. This is something that did not appear on the Federal Register because the administration figured out a way to do it in such a way that it does not rise to the level of regulation, is the term that they used. Basically, they just changed various departmental policies so they could do this administratively, and I think that sets a very dangerous precedent. Obviously, in the next 2 years, you have Obama, who wants to pass an agenda and leave a legacy before he leaves office on things like immigration. He's going to try to do more and on climate change, and he has a Congress that's not going to let him do it. And so I think the next 2 years are really going to challenge the role that Congress is going to have in our government, and that the founders designed when they came up with the 3 branches of government.
The computer crashing for Obamacare actually happened in 2013, but a big problem for Obamacare was Jonathan Gruber. Made headlines, skyrocketing rates, and secretly taped comments about Gruber about the stupidity of the American public and the program's affordability. What do you think right now as we talk about the Affordable Care Act as we head into 2015?
Well, as we revealed yesterday, Jonathan Gruber said in a policy brief in 2009 that Obamacare would not be affordable. The Affordable Care Act would not be affordable. There's no cost controls in it, and cost control was never the point. So when the president went before the American people and said that their premiums were going to go down and that costs were going to be controlled, he was lying. We know now that that's a lie. There's no other way to look at it based on the facts and think about it as anything other than a deception. And I think that has damaged him very significantly. And in terms of 2016, if a Republican gets in there and the Republicans keep the Congress, obviously day one, Obamacare is going to be repealed. So I think we're going to have another referendum on this in 2016. And with all the information that's come out about Obamacare since the 2012 election, when Mitt Romney didn't know as much as we know now because of our reporting and the reporting of others, I think it's going to be yet another big health care debate, and it's going to be very contentious.
I want to ask you quickly, do you think that there'll be any legislation passed to tweak Obamacare? Do you think the Republicans and the president can come to some kind of compromise with some changes to the ACA?
You know, if that's going to happen, I think it's probably going to happen on the medical device tax, which is a relatively small issue, but a lot of Democratic senators have expressed, I mean, it's not a small issue, it's a small issue in comparison to other things that the bill does, but it's really preventing the medical device industry in our country, which is one of our country's world-leading industries, from investing in research and development. So I think that could happen in the next 2 years. But in terms of tweaking it, I mean, the time has come and gone for that, and Republicans aren't interested in that at this point.
We'll have to wait and see. Medical device tax, we will keep our eye on that in the coming congressional session. Thanks a lot, Patrick. Howley joining us from Washington, D.C. We're now broadcasting on 2 channels on Dish. We're currently broadcasting on the Fox Business Channel 206, and we're available 24/7 on 223. When we come back, we're going to look at some of the biggest issues affecting your wallet.